Welcome to the NIDCD Individual Rutgers-Stein National Research Service Awards, or NRSA. And today we're going to be focusing on predoctoral fellowships. My name is Alberto Rivera Rentas. I'm the Research Training Officer at the Division of Scientific Programs at NIDCD. And I'm here with Dr. Melissa Stick, which is the Chief of the Scientific Review Branch at NIDCD at the Division of Extramural Activities.
Now it's pretty easy, yeah.
Next slide, please. Before we start, everybody should be on mute. We are going to take questions at the end, and please use the chat feature to include the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen to submit your questions. And please provide your name and affiliation and who your question is directed to when submitting a question. The webinar is being recorded and will be available online. Type your questions in the Q&A chat box, and there will be a Q&A period at the end of the webinar. Next slide, please. So you wonder who was Ruth Kirstein and why the National Service Award program was named after her. Originally from New York, she was a physician that contributed important laboratory work on the polio vaccine. She made history as the first woman to direct an NIH institute, the National Institute for General Medical Sciences, or NIGMS. She served as a NIH deputy director, and she was acting director of the NIH several times. The most important is she was a strong advocate for research training and diversity. The link below has a very interesting story about her life and all her achievements. And in the 70s, Congress named the National Research Service Award because of her success in research training and diversity. Next slide. Today, I'm going to be talking about the NIDCD NRSA Predoctoral Fellowships, and I'm going to be talking about the programmatic component. If you had any specific questions, you can, about any individual question about your about the webinar today, you can email me. And Dr. Stick is going to talk about the NIDCD's review process of NRSA fellowships. So any questions about review, you can direct to her. Next slide. We are the National Institute of Deafness and Other Communications Disorders, or NIDCD, for us that were here. We conduct and support biomedical and behavioral research and research training in the normal and disordered processes of 7 different research areas: hearing, balance, smell, taste, voice, speech, and language. Next slide. In terms of research training, our mission and overall research training goal is to increase the number, quality, and diversity of well-prepared and skilled investigators with knowledge and expertise in all areas supported by the Institute. NIDCD support interdisciplinary teams of both clinicians and basic scientists. And overall, we aim to foster the next generation of productive, creative, innovative, diverse, and qualified scientists in basic clinical and translational research. Next slide. You probably heard like a couple of years ago, the NIH redefined the definition and revised the definition of the clinical trial. And that had an impact on the fellowships. The final policy for the NIH is because in fellowships, NIH does not allow research projects that are standalone or independent clinical trial studies in the fellowship programs. The reason for this is that the fellowship doesn't have enough resources to have a significant, large enough sample in a clinical trial. But NIH encourages applicants to gain clinical research training, and these applicants can propose getting research experience in a clinical trial that is led by the sponsor or a co-sponsor. The mentor's lead clinical trial must be the definition of the NIH of the clinical trial, and there's the link that you can use, and follow the NIH clinical trial guidelines, but not necessarily has to be funded by NIH. It can be a clinical trial that is funded by other agencies or either non-federal sources like foundations. Next slide. NIDCD provide guidance to applicants of the fellowship that wants to gain clinical trial research experience. For example, an applicant can be part of a clinical trial team while in training and can use the data generated during the clinical research training experience for his or her proposed research project. The other option is that the applicant can add an intervention or additional measures and/or a subpopulation that is within the scope of the existing clinical trial that is led by the mentor, who assumes overall responsibility and funding of the clinical trial. There's a third option that the applicant may add an intervention, additional measure, and/or a subpopulation that was not originally contemplated in the original clinical trial and is out of the scope of the clinical trial. For this option, the mentor must provide additional documentation. Next slide. For this option, the mentor must provide the following documentation. For example, the clinical trial IRB approval of the additional component of the trial, and a statement that the mentors assume overall responsibility and funding for the clinical trial as well as the additional component. An approval of the additional component by the funding source. For example, if the clinical trial is NIH funded, the mentor must provide evidence of approval of the proposed change. The mentors must be aware that an addition of a component to an existing clinical trial may constitute a change of scope of the existing clinical trial. And for this, the mentor can get additional information on this link. Next slide. Overall, in terms of gaining research experience in a clinical trial, the fellowship application and the sponsor is required to include a statement to document the leadership of a clinical trial. The statement must include the source of funding, the clinicaltrial.gov identifier, if applicable, and the description of how the sponsor or sponsor expertise is appropriate to guide the applicant in the proposed clinical research experience. This statement must be included in the sponsors and co-sponsors statements, which is the attachment of the Form 430-PH Fellowship Supplemental Form. Next slide. NIDCD strongly recommends for fellowship applicants that all applicants for a fellowship award are expected to write their research training plan and describe the collaborative process they had with their sponsor or co-sponsors in the development, review, and editing of the research training plan. Also, while we understand that similarities between the applicant's research training plan and the sponsors or co-sponsors' current research is expected, the applicant research training plan should not duplicate research for which the sponsor or co-sponsor are already receiving funding. So it should be an addition, but not identical to the mentor's work. Next slide. So let's talk about our programs. Our first program is the Dual Degree Fellowship Award. It's the individual, and we have two versions of it. We have the individual fellowship for students at institutions with NIH-funded institutional predoctoral dual degree training programs. It's what we call the Planet F30. There's a PA number there, it's PA 21049. You can Google that number and you will get the most recent announcement. And the other version is for students that are at institutions without NIH-funded institutional predoctoral dual degree training programs. It's a different announcement number. It's PA 21050. The reason is that we have two different versions of the same fellowship program is that we have institutes at the NIH that has the MSTP program, the Medical Scientist Training Program, which is an institutional award that provides MD, PhD, or dual degree research training experience and training. And they are usually funded by NIGMS and or for the Dental Institute, which is NIDCR. So if a student is coming from one of these programs, they should go for the first announcement. And if the institution doesn't have any of these programs, they go for the second version of it. In terms of what is supported in a fellowship, the fellowship is up to 5 years. And it provides you with an NRSA policy stipend that is determined every year based on the policy that Congress approves. It provides support and will pay for both your graduate and your clinical training. That's what is up to 5 years. And it includes funding for your tuition and training-related expenses such as supplies, travel to meetings to present your work, etc. Next slide. The next fellowship program at the predoctoral level that we have is the Conventional Individual Predoctoral Fellowship of the Parent F31. This announcement is PA 21051, and this one is basically to pay for your dissertation work, and it's up to 5 years. However, typical awards are 3 years because you have to be a candidate for the degree once you want to activate the fellowship. So what typical individuals do is the year before taking the qualifier exams or the requirements to go to candidacy, they submit the application and then they activate the fellowship once they receive the award and they are already a candidate. It provides for the NRSA stipend that I mentioned before, and also for your tuition and the training related expenses like supplies and travel. Next slide. We have a different F31 also. It's an individual predoctoral fellowship to promote diversity in health-related research. It's the Parent F31 Diversity. The announcement number is PA 21052. And to be eligible for the fellowship, and is based on the Notice of NIH Interest in Diversity, which is just a number that if you want to look into it, is NOTOD 20031. And this interest in diversity basically defines 3 categories to be eligible. You can be an individual from a race and ethnic group that is underrepresented in biomedical sciences and is defined by reports from the NSF, and also individuals with a disability, or individuals that qualify as coming from disadvantaged backgrounds. And there's information on the fellowship announcement. It's up to 5 years, and I said typically it's 3 years. However, you can have another year if you're preparing courses that is going to strengthen your academic performance. It provides you the NRSA stipend as well as tuition and funds for training-related expenses that are similar to the other one. Next slide. So before you start writing, you have to do a self-assessment, a process of introspection. You need to know your strengths and your weaknesses. You need to know where you want to be in 5 years. And that's why the mentors are so important. Now, you need to know if you need additional mentor research training. And you need to talk to your mentors in working in preparing a fellowship application. You can have several mentors. The important thing is they have a specific role in your program. You can have a research mentor, you can have a technical mentor, a career mentor. I always encourage applicants to create an individual development plan. You have the website there, because that will help you identify the milestones that you need to accomplish in order to complete successfully your research project and obtain your degree. It's very important for you to evaluate your resources, your institution. Does the institution have the resources and the environment to help you grow and become an independent scientist? Your mentors, how their mentors, do they have time for you? And also their track records in terms of where are they and where are the people that they train? Are they preparing more scientists? And also you have to look into the experience of the collaborators and the consultants. Next slide. So once you have done this process of identifying your research project, your mentors, you want to make sure that NIDCD is the right fit for your application, correct? So you have to send the NIDCD training officer, that will be me, a one-page summary that includes the aims of the proposed research project, and include your bio sketch in NIH format, the names of the mentor or mentors, and a statement, one-page statement of the contribution of the research project to NIDCD and how it fits our mission, research priority, and strategic plan. Upon review, you will receive a written confirmation that the project fits NIDCD and to request NIDCD as the primary institute for your application. Something that I do with those documents is I verify with the different program officers of the research areas that your project fits their scientific portfolio, because you have to make sure that NIDCD is the appropriate way to go for. If you don't have or you want to see what NIDCD funds or if your project fits NIDCD or on any other research institute, I encourage you to use the NIH Reporter. That's the website. And you can include your keywords to make sure that it's NIDCD the right place or it's on other institute. For example, we have other institutes that support the language research portfolio. So it has to be very, very specific on NIDCD in terms of communication disorders. That is our admissions area. Next slide, please. So the path of an application at NIDCD. So you have the pre-submission area, right? So that's everything that you do at your institution. That's why you work with your mentor. That's why you work with the Office of Sponsored Programs. The Office of Sponsored Program for your institutional business official is the one that submits your application on your behalf. So once it gets into submission, it gets to NIH, and then the Center for Scientific Review decides which is the best institute, and that decision cannot be, they are decided and that cannot be changed. So if end up being assigned to NIDCD, at NIDCD, it goes to the Office of Review, and the Office of Review prepares the review meetings. At NIDCD, the fellowships are reviewed or evaluated at NIDCD on a special emphasis panels that Dr. Stick is going to mention later. Once the review meeting is completed, you will receive a score. And after a couple of weeks later, you will receive a summary statement. And at that point, you can contact me for additional guidance, or you can wait for the award decision. And at NIDCD, the funding recommendations or award decisions are made by the NIDCD Training Board, which includes program officers from all our 7 different areas. They make the funding recommendations, and if the decision is to recommend the application for funding, you will work with the Office of Grants Management, and everything is going to be resolved if there are any humans or animal models issues, and an award is made. And then you submit a progress report annually that you describe what you have done, your presentations, etc., and your progress. It also includes a recommendation from your mentor as part of the progress report. If the decision was not to fund, then you can go and you can resubmit one time your application. You go back to the pre-submission stage, addressing in a resubmission, you're addressing the weaknesses identified by the reviewers and going through the process again. Next slide. At NIDCD for the fellowships, this process from submission to award decision, it takes for 4 to 5 months. And this is because the Office of Review kindly prepare an expedite review process so you can submit resubmission in case you have to resubmit the application for the next consecutive submission date. Next slide. So let's talk about things that I have seen that individuals have been successful in applying for fellowships. I really recommend you to tell a story, to be evidence-based and hypothesis-driven, write very clearly, and please check your grammars and avoid the typos. Be concise, precise, and to the point. Use active voice. You need to sell yourself and your research ideas. and you have to read and proofread. And you have to make sure that you work with your mentors and your mentors read your application before it is submitted. And please, please, please keep your Office of Sponsored Program informed and involved, and don't submit at the last minute. Next slide. In terms of your research project, again, be hypothesis driven. Your specific aims should be measurable and doable, and also based on science peer review literature. Include preliminary data if you have it. It's not required, but it shows that the project is doable. It shows feasibility. The time frame, be mindful, be realistic and not overambitious. If you're asking for 3 years, you have to be putting a project there that is doable in 3 years. And it's appropriate for you. And be clear in terms of what new skills you will develop. That it has to be something new because it's a training experience. Make sure you do their scientific presentations and known meetings, include a timeline, and include a publication plan, because that's the parameter of success. Next slide. In terms of the training plan and your training potential, highlights your strength, where you are at this point and what you know. Address your weaknesses and how you're going to address your weaknesses by defining the skills you're going to be developing and also providing corrective action with the specific activities of what is going to be new for you and how you're going to proceed. In terms of your sponsor and mentors, they have to have a clear, defined role, and they have to help you out, move on and move up. They have to include a specific and strong statement about commitment and time for you, and contributions to your development and support and resources. Your institution has to provide a statement with clear, specific details, including resources, additional programs, and developmental activities available at the institution. Next slide. If you need any additional information, we have our very good training webpage that you can visit there. And also, next slide, you can email me any questions that you may have about our training programs and the process. And now I'm going to pass the webinar to Dr. Melissa Steck, that she's going to be talking about review.
Thank you, Alberto. That was a lovely overview on guidance about our predoctoral fellowships. My name is Melissa Stick, and I am the Chief of the Scientific Review Branch at the NIDCD. I'd like to take a little bit of time just to talk about the fellowship review within our institute and some observations about review in general of fellowships. Next slide, please. So, to start with, you're going to submit your grant through grants.gov. As Alberto mentioned a few slides ago, it's important to start early because you want to make sure that your grant has been accepted. So once you've submitted, go back and wait for confirmation to ensure that your grant has been received. The other part of your fellowship is that you are required to submit 3 reference letters, and those are submitted through ERA Commons. It's important to note that your reference letters are also due by the receipt date. So for fellowships, you're looking at April, August, and December 8th. You don't want your reference letters coming in on the 9th or 10th. All applications are received by the Division of Receipt and Referral, and they then make assignments to appropriate institutes based on referral guidelines. When submitting an application, you can indicate a preferred institute and include in a cover letter that Dr. Rivera-Rentas has discussed your application with you and that NIDCD is willing to accept assignments. Next slide, please. So there are 2 types of locus of review for fellowships. As I mentioned, your grant will go to the Division of Receipt and Referral, and they will then assign it to an institute. If your application is assigned to NIDCD, we review all of our own fellowships. If you're submitting to another institute for funding, your application will be reviewed in the Center for Scientific Review. The NIDCD reviews fellowships by way of what's called a special emphasis panel. These are panels that are convened every round based on the science that has come in and the technical expertise that is needed. We group our fellowship review basically by hearing and balance, chemical senses, and voice, speech, and language. And again, based on the science that has come in, those are the people that we begin to look for to recruit as reviewers. We do encourage reviewers to have availability for future rounds so that we can ensure overlap if applications are coming back as resubmissions. Next slide, please. When reviewing an application, you will have at least 3 reviewers with relevant scientific expertise. Occasionally, you may have 4 if we're really looking at a nuanced technique that we think needs to be covered. For each application, reviewers prepare a critique. We ask all of our reviewers to write a complete critique as opposed to being a reader and not looking at each one of the review criteria. The reviewers are responsible for looking at the review criteria and assigning a criterion score for each review criteria. They will also assign an overall impact score, a preliminary score, but it's important to note that this is not going to be an average of the criterion scores that you will see when you get your summary statement. It's an overall assessment. So for some reviewers, one criterion may be a score driving component, whereas another reviewer may weight another review criterion more heavily. Next slide, please. So briefly, I just wanted to go over the criterion scores. We're looking at the fellowship applicant candidate, that's you, sponsors, collaborators, and consultants, the research training plan, training potential, and the institutional environment and commitment to training. It's important, I want to draw a distinction between the research training plan and training potential. When we're looking at training potential, we're not focused on you, the candidate, and what type of potential you have to become a great scientist. We're looking at what does the research award, what potential is it offering to you? In other words, what skills and techniques are you going to acquire? What is the potential for you to learn new things? Why do you need this award as opposed to general training in a graduate program? What is different? What is the value added? When we're looking at sponsors and collaborators, again, it's important to, as Dr. Rivera-Rentas noted earlier, we want to make sure that your sponsors have experience serving as a mentor. It doesn't mean that you cannot have a junior sponsor, but reviewers want to know that the candidate is going to be okay at the end of 3 years, that somebody is familiar with ensuring their success in getting through a training plan. So it may be appropriate to add a more senior co-sponsor who has significant experience mentoring. Next slide, please. Some additional review criteria are protection of human subjects, vertebrate animals, biohazards, and resubmission. These components, as noted on the slide, are not individually scored, but reviewers do consider them when assigning their overall impact score. Next slide, please. Additional review considerations which do not factor into the score would be training in the responsible conduct of research, which is required every 4 years. Select agents, in other words, the handling of select agents, you would need to provide information about that. A resource sharing plan, and then the budget/period of support. Are you requesting an appropriate number of years to do your research? Next slide, please. So briefly, let's go through what the review process is. So approximately half of all applications are discussed. The reviewers will discuss the strengths and weaknesses of each of the applications and recommend an overall impact score. All panel members are invited to participate in the discussion, and all reviewers not in conflict with the application are going to provide an overall impact score based on the discussion that they have heard. So this is saying, while we have 3 reviewers assigned to every grant, The discussion is actually a panel discussion. The 3 reviewers are going to present their critiques, and then we open it up to questions and further discussion from all panel members. After that, the assigned reviewers provide their scores, and all members then vote based on the feedback that has been provided by the assigned reviewers. Scores are assigned 1 through 9. The final score then is multiplied by 10, and you will get an overall impact score ranging from 10 to 90. All discussed applications receive a resume and summary of discussion, which is a highlight of the major strengths and weaknesses which led to the impact score that you're receiving. It's important to note applications that are not discussed receive all of the critiques from the reviewers. The only difference is there is no summary of discussion. So then the next question people want to know is, well, if I'm not going to be funded, what do I do? And earlier, Dr. Rivera-Rentas mentioned resubmitting. So you have 2 options. Next slide, please. So if you are not going to receive funding with this submission, you can resubmit your application as an A1. It's a resubmission. You respond to the weaknesses that were identified by the reviewers in your introduction. It's important to acknowledge the criticisms. Even if you don't agree with them, you can respectfully say that, but to not acknowledge the criticisms or just completely ignore them usually does not fare well in a subsequent review. The other option that you have is you can come in as a new application, an A0, and this link below gives you additional information. It's important to know if you decide to come in as an A0, in other words, it's a brand new application, you cannot make any reference to the previous review. If you do, your application will be withdrawn. When resubmitting or coming in as a new application, all of your reference letters need to be resubmitted. Nothing is saved. An important thing about the NIDCD fellowship review, in other words, if your grant is reviewed by NIDCD, it is an expedited review. So it's 4 to 5 months from receipt of the application to award. But you are strongly encouraged to talk with the training officer after you receive your summary statement to determine if this is the best option or if it would be beneficial for you to take a little more time to address the criticisms. Next slide, please. All right, so now you've had the review of your application. What happens? Typically, overall impact scores are released within 72 hours of the meeting. You want to check your Commons account. You can't ask the review officer. They're not going to be able to tell you. Dr. Rivera-Rentas won't know it. You need to check your Commons account. Summary statements are released typically 3 to 4 weeks after the meeting. The goal is if somebody is going to resubmit the application because they don't have substantial criticisms, we'd like to try to give candidates 3 to 4 weeks to do so. After the review meeting, it's important for you to contact the NIDCD training officer if you have any questions, and not the review officer. It's not that we don't want to help you, but once the review is over, all questions shift back to the programmatic side. So you need to think in terms of, while you're planning your application, you work very closely with the training officer. Once you hit submit and your grant has been sent to NIH, then you start working with the review side. Once the review is over, you go back to the program side. Next slide, please. I'd like to just briefly go over some common weaknesses that we see from the review side in applications. And certainly this is not limited, this is not an end-all list, but some things that we've noted more frequently. For the applicant, sometimes we will see limited productivity. And I understand that as an F31 applicant, you don't have a lot of time to publish lots of papers. But what reviewers are looking for is a trajectory. So have you published abstracts? Have you given any talks? Something that shows that you're committed to research. With your sponsor and your mentor, sponsor and or mentor, do they have funds to support your research? And if they don't, that's okay, but is there a department commitment to ensure that your research can be done? I mentioned a little earlier about having a mentor who doesn't have a history of mentoring students. That's okay, as long as there are plans to address that inexperience. For your training plan, again, reviewers are looking for something about this application that speaks to you. It's not a generic application. So if a training plan is not tailored to you, that will not be viewed favorably, likely. And then with the training potential, it's not clear what you, the candidate, are going to gain by having this research award. Why do you need it? Next slide, please. When we look at the research training plan, another problem we see is that sometimes plans are too ambitious. And so a good rule of thumb is to look at the aims that you're proposing and then talk with Dr. Rivera-Rentas and maybe cut one of those aims. Sometimes we also see research plans, though, that are just not substantial enough, and yet they're asking for 3 years of support. Another problem noted is that there's really no rationale for why the project needs to be done. Where's the rigor? Is it supported by the literature? Is feasibility demonstrated? Again, reviewers aren't asking you to complete this project before you submit it, but they'd like some assurances knowing that it can be done. While we don't expect you to be proposing brand new R01 work, it's also important that you make clear what your contribution is in this NRSA application. We recognize that it could be a tangent to a mentor's R01, but you're not supposed to be duplicating the research that's already supported in an R01. Another problem noted is that citations are missing, and sometimes this may be there are differing approaches to a problem, but it's important, even if there are alternative views in the field, to at least consider them in your presentation. And finally, research plan may not have adequate presentation of considering pitfalls and alternatives. So you haven't thought through what you're going to do if plan A doesn't work. Next slide, please. We have some more. Okay. Another issue that comes up are typos. Again, we see these, 1 or 2 isn't an issue, but when things have not been proofread, it becomes distracting for reviewers, and if they can't figure out what you're trying to say, they can go on, they have another grant to read. So take the time to proofread your application. When putting in tables, make sure that they can see the legend, it's clear. Otherwise, again, it's frustrating for them and they're going to move on. Having said that, there's also font restriction and number of lines that are allowed for grants. So be careful when putting together your application to ensure that you're complying with NIH regulations on the allowable font and lines per inch. Lack of attention to human subjects, vertebrate animals, and inclusion plans. These are all required sections of your application. Please make sure that they are attached. And then finally, as I alluded to earlier, if you do submit an A1, please take the time in the introduction to respond to previous critiques. Even if you don't agree with them, acknowledge and then respectfully disagree. Next slide. And with that, I think we can look at the questions and see if there are questions, right, Alberto?
Yeah, I haven't seen any questions on the chat. So please, if you have any questions, just type it in the chat box. If not, we can talk through typical questions that we get. For example, a question that I always get is like, what is a fundable score? Like how, and our fellowship programs at NIDCD are fairly competitive. So I typically, what I have seen is that application that scores scores of low 30s and below, they tend to be more successful. And So usually if you get a score of 35, 40, etc., it's better to either readdress in a resubmission or come in with a new application. But we take into consideration several factors while making those decisions. Another question that I get is like, can I have multiple mentors? Yes. So you can have several mentors as long as they have a specific role in your project or in your development. How you identify the mentors, who's going to be a sponsor versus a mentor and sponsors are interchangeable. Who's going to be a sponsor or a mentor, and who's your co-sponsor or co-mentor. Typically, the primary mentor or primary sponsor is the mentor, the individual that has a supervisory role in your development, in your research project. Is the person that you're going to be working in his or her research project, and it's going to be funding your work, because as I mentioned, the funds in the fellowship is rather limited. Another question in terms of program that I get is like, do my mentor needs to have an NIDCD award or an NIH award? Not necessarily. It's not required to be an NIDCD funded work or NIH funded work. It can be from other agencies. It can be for other foundations, nonprofits, etc. What we and the reviewers look for is that are the resources there so you can complete your research project and your degree on time. And that's the important part.
So a couple of questions that we get on our side would be, my mentor has 2 students that are going to be submitting fellowships at the same time. Is that a problem? No, it isn't. We have multiple applications coming from the same lab. Reviewers do not compare applications. Another question is, what happens if there are reviewers that I don't want reviewing my grant? When you submit your cover letter, you can identify individuals that you believe there are conflicts. It doesn't mean that they will not be on the panel, but a review officer will reach out to you for clarification of the conflict, and that information is kept confidential. It's not something that other reviewers see. So again, if there are certain conflicts in the field that you want the review officer to be aware of, please do let us know.
Another question that I get is an interesting process, because as I mentioned and Melissa mentioned on her presentation, once the review meeting is completed, you will receive automatically a score. And it probably happens at the same day that the review is completed. Please wait for your summary statement to arrive, because we will not know how your application will do, because first we need to complete all the review meetings, and second, we have to wait for the recommendations of the NIH training board. I always recommend that once you get your summary statement, to share it with your mentor or mentors, and then reach out, and I can give you an idea where the applications start. States in terms of the status before training board. We call applications that are between the 30 to 35 applications that are on the gray zone, and the training board basically sits down and discuss application in terms of fatal flaws of things that might be better for you in terms of addressing those weaknesses in a resubmission, or is something that is fixable.
I guess I also wanted to follow up. I mentioned that it was important to identify individuals if you believe there is a conflict. It's also important when you submit your application, if there are specific areas of science that you think need to be covered, you can do so when submitting your application, but please do not name individuals that you think would be appropriate as a reviewer. We just want areas of expertise.
That is correct. And I always emphasize, please, once you are thinking of submitting an application, please reach out, send the materials ahead of time so you make sure that NIDCD is the right place for your application. As I mentioned, we have different institutes that support different areas. Sometimes the National Institute of Mental Health might be more appropriate. or the National Institute of Aging is more appropriate, or the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, particularly this is a language work. So it's better to do it ahead of time and don't wait for the last minute. We don't have any questions, so I think we will be waiting for emails that we're going to receive. We are going to, as I mentioned, the webinar is going to be recorded. It's going to be available in our training webpage, and we have all the materials there. If you want a copy of the presentation, please email us. And at this point, I want to be mindful of everybody's time. And I want to say first, thank you to Dr. Stick to keep helping me with these webinars. And a very, very, very special thank you to Ms. Ginger Webb and NIDDK with her help in putting together this webinar. Is our first of many, and I look forward to keep doing these webinars with you. And the next one is going to be about postdoctoral fellowships. And also want to say thank you to the IT support and all the technical support that we have. Appreciate it. So thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you.